Good evening. My family is from New York, so naturally it would be logical for me to choose to do 9/11 for my historical event. My grandmother and most of my family lived just a bus ride and a subway ride away from the World Trade Centers, so I could have interviewed any of them. However, I wanted to get a very different perspective. My immediate family, my brother, my mom, my dad, and myself, lived in Florida at the time, so I decided to interview my brother. At the time, he was only 7 years old in 3rd grade. He told me that they were coming back from PE, and that when they were coming back from PE, they came into the classroom and noticed that the television was on. He thought that was really strange because his teacher was not very nice at the time, and it confused him as to why they would be watching television and why she would have let them watch television. So he sat down and looked up and saw that CNN was on the television, and he didn't really realize that he thought it was a movie that they were watching, and then he noticed that the CNN said live, and that he was actually watching the World Trade Center burn and crumble to the ground. At the time, though, he didn't realize that it was a World Trade Center or how significant it was. He had no idea what he was watching. But a few minutes after they had come in, the second tower flew in and hit the second building. So a whole 3rd grade class watched the entire second building just collapse and crumble to the ground live. Can't imagine how traumatic that would have been. I didn't get a chance to see it. But he told me after a little bit he noticed that, or he heard his name being called over the intercom for him to come to the office to be checked out. And he was a little confused because it really hadn't clicked with him that his family was in New York and that they could be in danger. So he got to the office and saw myself and my mother waiting, and the first thing out of his mouth, I guess it just instantly clicked with him, was, "Is Grandma okay? Is she okay? Is our family okay?" And my mom said she really didn't know because she hadn't been able to get in touch with our grandma. And I can't imagine how terrifying that would have been. Well, I can't imagine it, but it's something surreal. I mean, even from my feelings from the day, it's a crazy day. But he said, after a while, when we got home, my brother was sitting on the couch at night with my parents, and they were watching CNN, and he said at that moment he realized how serious it was, because he looked over and saw my dad crying, and he had never seen that. I've never seen my dad cry. So it was a really terrifying time for him. He said that in that moment he realized that nothing was going to be the same again, and at that moment he said that a little bit of his childhood was taken away from him, because he knew that he'd have to worry a lot more than our family before us had to during 9/11. It's just looking back on the day from now, that 9/11 changed so many things. It's changed our government, the way we travel. It's even changed the way we speak. Words that weren't in our language before now are, like Al-Qaeda and terrorists and anthrax. All those words weren't really all that big in our society until after these attacks. And children that grew up now they don't have the same carefreeness as they did before. They can't hardly remember what it's like not to worry about terrorism or having the TSA pat them down. It's just a scary reality of this world, and one day hopefully we can go back to that childish feeling again.